Hello, how are you? Glad you joined us. This is Felicia Moore for another, hopefully exciting episode of Realty, Resources, and Reality, brought to you by Exit Realty West Midtown. We're here to serve you. We want to make sure you give you great information. Our broker of record, Michael Williams, always says that we have to have a heart for the people. And this is one of many ways that we are here at this brokerage try to share information and have a heart for people and be your resource. So please make sure you utilize us. Today, we are on part 4, which is the final part, but it's always something afterwards. But we've been talking about how you unlock the path to property ownership. Whether you're buying a home, commercial property, anything, there are some steps that you need to consider. And then some things that I like for people to prepare for. So if you know this information up front, when you get ready to purchase a home or a piece of property, you'll know some of the things and upfront costs and twists and turns that may come along the way. So again, I want you to help us as before we get into today's show by liking this video. So you can go out and hit that thumbs up button. That will be great because the more you like it, the more YouTube will share it with others who can use that information. The other thing I want to make sure that you do is subscribe. Hit that subscription button and then make sure you hit that bell so that you get all notifications. So if you aren't able to see it live, it plays, you can always replay it. And then finally, this is maybe a lift, share it. Share it on your other platforms, your Facebook, whatever. Let people know this information is out here and also encourage them to like, share, and subscribe. So let's get into it. We have been talking about unlocking that path to property ownership. Let's see, in episode 1, we talked about how to select a realtor and how it is important to have a professional at your side doing this. I wouldn't change my oil in my car, even though I think I could. I'd probably go on YouTube, find a video, and stumble and bumble and fumble through it. Whereas I could also just get a professional, somebody who knows what they're doing, who's done it, who's run into the ups and downs of it because there are issues and gets it done. So please always consider a professional. And you can always call our office and ask us questions. We're here to help you as well. And if you would like, represent you on the buyer or the seller side of your transaction. So we also talked about that. We talked about financing. How do you get the money? What are the things that you have to do to be prepared? Because the first thing a realtor is going to want to know, or anyone else for that matter, they're going to want to know that you're able to purchase it, that you're going to have the finances available to purchase it. And so we talked about that in episode 1. And then we talked a little bit about home inspections and how important, crucial, critical home inspections are in this process. In episode 2, we talked more about that. We also talked about wood infestation. We talked about home warranties. In part 3, we talked more about property inspections to show you how important that is, home warranties, and what the exterminator is going to do, because you're going to want them on your team. Definitely need them on your team. But today we've gone through all of that. We're at the final stage. We are going to get to the closing table. Whew. It's been a long process, and so we're going to find out more about that. But we're going to take a break right now so you can like, share, and subscribe, and we'll be right back. And then we'll start to talk about what happens at that closing table.
They want to work smarter. They want to have a great work-life balance, but they also want to change the world. And they want to do their part in changing the world. They want to embrace a company that cares. And now with the opportunity for residual income, they can create anything. Forget about game changer. This is without question a life changer for the business.
And so we're back. Yes, please like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to keep saying it because we really need to get more subscriptions and to get people to see our shows and understand the information we have. So please, if you haven't, would you please do that? It doesn't take but a second. So again, we have been talking about all of the phases to get from the idea and the decision that you would make, which anytime you make it, whether you make it once for that dream home that you want, or whether you make it several times because you want to get in investments or move around and purchase property, those things that you need to do. And in this episode, we're now talking about the closing. Yes, the closing. It's been a sprint to get to that point. You've had a lot of things that you've had to prepare for. I'm sure working with your realtor hand in hand, you have a lot of stuff going on. There may have been ups and downs, but you finally made it to that closing table. So we're going to go back to our home property ownership seminar. And again, we host these as a public service here at Exit Realty West Midtown. And, we can always bring them to you. And again, before I go on, I want to remind people to contact me. I want to make sure that we are doing the shows that you want and get information that you want. And we will also come to you, to small groups or whatever, if you want to just discuss real estate, because there's a lot going on out here in the market. You can always contact me at Ask Felicia. That's Ask Felicia. It's on the screen at exitwestmidtown.com. Or you can text Ask Felicia to 85377, and I'll get that and I will contact you back, and we'll have a discussion whether it is that you need someone to help represent you in your real estate needs or you just have a question. I'm good for questions. We also do a complimentary comparative market analysis here. So if you have people who are contacting you about purchasing your home and you might think about selling it, and you want to know what is the real value or what is the market value, what is it out there compared to other properties, what should I be looking for in the my home's purchase? Well, we'll do those for you complimentary as well. So there's a lot of resources we have here. We've got them. You just got to tell us that you need them, and we're here for you. So now back to closing table. We are now about to hit that closing table. And once we do that, we know at the end of that day, when that meeting is over, we are that property owner. And so we're going to go to that. I want to introduce you, and her name will be scrolling at the bottom of the screen, Leva Tamori. She is with Olson and Matlock, and she is a real estate closing attorney. So let's hear what she had to say, and we will talk as we go along. So let me add her to our screen. Let's make her a bit bigger. All right, I don't have to be that big. So let's see what Leva has to say. Oops. And if you will notice also as well that we have her Okay, we have her phone number and email address scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Here we go.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Leva. I'm the closing attorney with Olson and Law Firm in Norcross. We handle residential and commercial closings. I used to be a real estate agent, so I work in your shoes. I know how the process could be, and I'm here to help. So, what to expect at the closing table is familiarize your buyer with the closing documents. So you can educate them that they will be signing a lot of loan documents such as promissory note, security deed. The warranty deed will be signed by the sellers transferring ownership to the buyer. The, the closing process could take between 20 to an hour, depending on how complicated it is. How
So let me stop right there because I don't want us to get too far and it's just a lot of information down. What she's talking about is what you should expect at the closing table. And one thing you're going to expect no matter which side of the transaction you're on, whether you're the buyer or whether you're the seller, is you're gonna get your fingers ready to sign documents. Now, there are some closing attorneys that do totally electronic closings. So that does happen. You know, the old traditional everybody meet at a certain time at a certain place. Sometimes that happens and sometimes that does not. Even when you're refinancing a property, I know one time I refinanced a property that I had. I didn't have to go anywhere. It was all done over the internet. You know, they were there in the camera, I was there in the camera, and we were able to electronically sign documents. And if you are in any real estate transaction now, you probably are getting familiar with or had to get familiar with e-signing, electronically signing documents. And so she's talking about a traditional closing, which is typically what happens. You will meet at a real estate office and you to expect that you're going to sign a lot of documents. It's going to take, as she said, anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. Just depends on the issue. So, you know, some of these are quick closings. It may be a cash offer that you had and you accepted. And so, as long as that money is into the closing attorney, the title work is good, you're ready to go. And it's just a matter of signing the documents and you're on your way. However, if you're getting financing, there may be a few more documents and things that you have to sign. So let's continue on and see what else Leva has to offer.
many closing, because each lender is different, so depending on the lender's package. Once we have the contract, I just wanna um, um, walk you through how the closing process works in our office. Once we have the contract, we order title right away. We don't wait for the inspections. This is our standard in office. We just order title. We get the title report typically within 5 to 7 business days. So you can call us back to see if there are any title issues. We don't.
So I want to stop there because what she's saying is really an important part of this whole entire process. And that's why she as soon as that is all signed and ready to go, the first thing they do is take that contract and they order a title. It's important. She will tell you this later on, but the closing attorney, if you are financing your home, does not represent you, the buyer, or you, the seller. They represent the person, the entity, the bank that is financing the deal. And so they have certain things they have to do in due diligence. Although it helps you, they are representing really the lender. And they will also help you as the buyer, particularly, get title insurance as well for yourself. Because just because the lender has title insurance, it does not insure you. So she said the first thing they do when they get that contract is order that title work. And she said that they can get it typically within 5 to 7 days. There are times when the title has issues. And so, what is the title? The title is kind of gives the history of the property. Make over the years, over decades, that the ownership of that property doesn't have any gaps, doesn't have any question marks as to who owns it. Sometimes there may be liens on the property. I had a client who was selling property and the title work came back with several liens, and he had to satisfy those liens so it could clear the title. So when it is transferred to the new buyer, all of that is cleared up. And the finance company is going to want to know, if we're going to loan money for this, we want to make sure the title is clear. So as long as there's no problems, and typically, as she says, there aren't, it moves on pretty quickly. However, there are times when you find those little hiccups, or the title companies get inundated and they may be a bit slower about getting things done. That is something that you have to be cognizant of. So let's continue on and see what Leva has to say.
Don't go to the county. We have our own title abstractor. Go to the counties and look through the records and give us a title report. Um, Once we have that, if we contact the seller and we contact the buyer to get their buyers and sellers information sheet to gather information from them. And then we'll look through the title report. If there are any issues, we contact the parties and inform them how long will it take. Typically, I would say 90% of the titles that we see are clear, but sometimes we see title issues that comes and we just need to clear it. And that might delay closing, but we communicate in advance. And then once there is lenders involved, of course, we have cash purchases and loan, finance purchases. We communicate with the buyer. We get the title request from the lender, directly from the lender, and we send the title report and our title docs to the lender in order for them to look at the title, and if they have any requests, we are there to address them. In Georgia, typically, if there are closing and there are lenders involved, based on the contract, the GAR form, closing attorneys represent the lender in the transactions. In the cash transaction, closing attorney represent the buyer in the transactions. So this is sometimes when I am explaining the closing documents, sometimes buyers look at me and think why she's trying to say Georgia is a non-judicial foreclosure state. Isn't she protecting my interests? In Georgia, again, when there are loans involved, as a closing attorney, we represent the lender in the transaction.
So again, she is just reiterating that she represents the lender in the transaction, and that has a lot to do with Georgia law. And she's also talking about, and it's something important to know, that Georgia is a non-judicial foreclosure state. What does that mean? Very simply, it means that after certain parameters, and she'll talk about those, if you're late paying your mortgage, and excessively late, your lender, ABC Bank, can go without having to go to court. They can immediately start with the foreclosure procedure. Yeah, I know. And that's, not a great thing for most people, but that's why it's very important that when you enter into these agreements to own money for particularly your home purchase, you're going to want to make sure that you make those payments on time. You're going to want to make sure that if there is a moment's notice that you think that you cannot make that payment, that you got that lender on the phone and you're making arrangements with them, because at any time after a certain amount of time, I think it's 15 days or more, they can start the procedure to foreclose your property, and they do not have to go and get permission from a judge to do it. Let's go on.
So all of you know that Georgia is a non-judicial foreclosure state. So that means if the borrower default on the loan, um, lenders can foreclose on the property without taking the buyer to the courthouse. That's unfortunate, but that's the law. In Georgia, borrowers have typically 15 days to make their payments. If they don't make their payments, they have 4 to 5% penalty. Is of the monthly principal and interest that they need to pay. And educating your buyers that, hey, just make your payment on time. Do not wait until the 15 days to make your payments. Is very important. And that's typically what they do at a closing table. Just explaining the closing documents. One of the documents, the really important documents, is the alter statements that we typically send out to the parties, to each side, 24 hours or 48 hours in advance to look at the numbers.
So she's saying that now she's talking about, after talking about judicial foreclosure, she's talking about that final document that you get that everybody wants to see. And they typically try to get it out within 24 hours of the closing. So that's important. 24 hours is good. But your realtor can kind of help give you some general sense of those costs, having experience doing it with other things. So we're going to get back to her, and we're going to see what that final document entails, why it's important, and we'll sort of wrap up this end of the series. And I'm going to give you a few tips after the closing that you might consider. We're going to take a short break. If you haven't already, please help us and like, share, and subscribe. You can go and hit that like button. We'll be back right after this.
Like, this is amazing. There's no limit.
The opportunities are endless and they just keep compounding.
You can earn over 100%.
And everybody has that opportunity, and it's awesome.
You can build multiple streams of income.
I love it. I have so much freedom.
What I love about Exit is the camaraderie. I have a network of other broker owners that are truly supportive.
What I love most about Exit is the people and the culture that it brings right from head office.
Exit trading has made all the difference in the world for me and my business.
I love the training at Exit. I love the family, the culture. Honestly, I love everything it offers.
Okay, we're back. And if you are out there interested in a career in real estate, just want to know what it's about, what's all entailed, because it's not as easy as it seems. Nothing is there. You've got to put work and dedication in it. We would love to talk with you here at Exit Realty West Midtown, whether you have a license and trying to find where you would like to go, or if you already have a license and are already somewhere and considering moving somewhere else, or if you just are interested in the field of real estate and wanting to know, what are the steps and what you should do. Again, we're a resource here and we want to help you. So let's go back to Leva. Please catch her information, because it will be going off of the screen shortly if you haven't already. And of course, you can always contact me at askfelicia@exitwestmidtown.com. I'll have my contact information up as well. Let's hear from Leva.
The auto statements are typically the purchase price, what's been credited to the seller, what's been debited from the seller, what's been debited from the buyer, what's been credited toward buyer. So the purchase price, any credits that they receive, the purchaser will receive from the seller. The city taxes, county taxes, HOA prorations will be there. The loan charges, processing fee, underwriting fee, credit report fee, any lender charges will be there. The escrows, typically the lender requires the borrowers to pay to keep some cash in the reserve in escrow account. So they typically ask for 3 to 6 months of homeowners insurance and property taxes in advance. So that will go in their escrow account. And then we have the title charges. That's the settlement fee, the attorney's fee. We charge $385. I'm sure for those that who work with us, this is the best rate that you could find in Georgia. We have the title charges. We have the lender's title insurance, the owner's title insurance, title search, and settlement fees. And then comes to governmental charges to report your deed, mortgage, transfer tax, and intangible tax. Miscellaneous charges includes home warranty, homeowners insurance that the borrower is required to pay in advance for 1 year, or any credit that they receive from the lender. And typically, that's all includes in the settlement statement. I think. If you guys have any question, I know I bombarded you with so much information, but if you guys have any questions, let me know.
And we want to thank Leva.
Everyone,
Oh,
my
I
name
don't want to
is
shut her
Leva. I'm
in.
with also
Stop her.
law firm in Norcross.
She gave us a lot of great information.
I
We don't need to hear it twice. So I'm back. That your realtor will help prepare you for in advance and help walk you through. All 4 parts of the series seems like a whole lot of stuff, and you want to make sure you get it right on the front end. So I do want to add a couple of things, and I'm going to take her contact information off, so I hope you received it. If not, you can definitely go back and replay it. I'm adding on top of that while you're writing that down and getting my contact information, which is flowing at the bottom now, soon at the top. Please make sure you write this down because I'm here to answer these questions in case you don't get it in the show. One of the other things that I wanted to share with you as I close out, we're still learning here, but we're going to get it done. Okay. Get rid of her. There we go. Ask Felicia. Is that once you do that, once you own a piece of property, or if you already own a piece of property, I have been diligent in asking for people to consider, not to consider, to do it. And tell your friends, your neighbors, your relatives, anybody, if they own property, to register their property. Register their property with the county that they live in, just so you get a double assurance, as well as the state of Georgia. And their alert system is on the screen. That is the Georgia alert system. So go there. And then you can always go into Google or whatever for your and say Fulton County property deed registration alerts or property alerts. Why is it important? Because people are stealing people's property right out from underneath them and they don't know. And by the time they figure it out, it's been so long that they have lost their property. We talked about the title issue. What happens if you have a home, you decide you want to sell your home, you go through the process, you get a buyer or whatever, We get to the closing attorney. The first thing they do is a title report, and they look at the title report and say, "You don't own this property." "What do you mean I don't own this property?" "Well, 4 or 5 years ago, or 4 or 5 months ago, or whatever, John Doe came in and you transferred the property to John Doe." "Oh, no, 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 I didn't do that." Well, people are doing that. And it's happening not only here, but all across the country. I'm even seeing where people are coming and urging county commissioners and others to do something. It's really a state issue. So first, the clerks of the counties were complaining because they have to follow the law. If someone comes and brings their paperwork, they have to record it. And so then they created in different counties these alert systems that'll give you a chance to contest it before it goes too far. And then the state of Georgia, because they wouldn't make laws that would make it harder for people to do it, they created an alert system. So please make sure you do that. There's many other things you need to do, but that is one that I want to make sure that you do. Anyway, I want to thank you for joining us for this episode. I'm also asking you to please like, share, and subscribe to this video and our series. We're going to keep going. I want to know what you want to hear about. And we have some great ideas for some future shows. So please stay tuned in. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Realty, Resources, and Reality. And I am going to make sure that we share our contact information with you so that you can get back to us and call us and contact us. Until the next show, stay safe out there and please protect your property.